back to your memory lanes. How were your days at IIFT? What are your memories from IIFT times that you still cherish? And a sneak peek for the junior batch who haven't experienced the campus yet.
I was a day scholar. I did my bachelor's in engineering. I was actually commuting from home. This was my, I grew up in Chennai and went to college in Chennai. This was my first foray into outside of Chennai. And more than education, I think it gave me a lot of exposure uh, to live independently and with the working, your classmates. I was roommating with two other guys from the same class. We didn't have a campus at the time. We were in Nehru Place, if I remember right, not house cost. So it was more like a you know, it's an office environment, not so much as a campus. So we had to take housing outside of that, and that was a big change for me. More importantly, many of us that were, had an overseas trip during IFT days. I went to Thailand, some people went to Philippines, and that was my first foreign trip. I can never forget. It was fun. We did a lot of shopping, and went about. It was fantastic. That is still lingering in my memory because that was my first foreign trip exposure, overseas exposure at IFT. Both educationally, I would say, and otherwise, that was a sea change from what I was doing before.
How healthcare data is being used to achieve the quadruple aims of healthcare, such as improving the patient experience, improving the health of populations, and also reducing the per capita cost of healthcare.
Absolutely. It's not just when you talk about data, we all think about data as a structured data. Okay. What I'm talking about is both structured, unstructured data. What is unstructured? Physician handwrite notes or EHR EMR where there will be long text. Okay. There is a video, x-rays, images that had never been analyzed before. Today, x-rays, MRI, all these things are analyzed. And then including any sound, any this. For example, I'll give you an example. We looked at the readmission rates of people who are treated using structured data. So we thought it's 90% confidence they won't get readmitted. They got readmitted several times. Why? See, if you go to a doctor, hey, you look pale. You look pale. That is never captured anywhere. That looking pale is so important in the unstructured data. If you bring structured as well as unstructured data, you get a lot of insights. That is for predictability of certain conditions, very useful. Even FDA has started with real world evidence. Real world evidence is going to play a very vital role. Already, a lot of people are looking at, typically randomized control trial is done basically using patients. Now they are thinking it is so cost prohibitive. Can we come up with what is known as synthetic control arm? Synthetic control arm is looking at the real world evidence. You identify the patients for placebo trial. You don't tell them, but you identify the patients. That way you can bring down the cost of clinical trials. That doesn't mean that percolates to the ultimate price of the product. There are
The IoT market in healthcare is expected to grow at 30% CAGR and reach 188 billion USD in 2024. AI has already become the next big thing. What, according to you, are the opportunities in IoT and AI which can bring to the life sciences sector?
huge. I'll give you, I don't know if you have heard the term called digital surgery. Digital surgery is becoming all big companies like Johnson and Johnson, Medtronics, Stryker, all into digital surgery. Nobody generally, what is digital surgery? It's basically using sensors, using edge network, using IoT, IoT, all the connected devices are used to do the surgery. And in India, they performed a surgery remotely recently. It came in Wall Street Journal. I have a news item here using robotics. So when I say digital surgery, that includes robotic surgery as well. When you say think of robotics, it's not a huge hospital. There are robotics to perform a specified, very specific surgery in outpatient setting. Literally, it is performed in the morning, you are discharged in the evening. There are surgeries, complex surgeries performed in the setting, hospital setting. That may be like, think of it this way. It's a mainframe. Other one is a PC. The other one is a laptop. Other one is a iPhone or smartphone. This is how the devices are going to be, the surgery is going to be performed, both in inpatient setting and outpatient setting. What is IOMT? That means you need all the sensors and devices at the edge network, wherever you are there. It is going to collect data, collect videos, collect images, and send it. So there is a feedback loop established. You are able to analyze and perform the surgery. Doctors, I'm not minimizing the doctor's role here. Surgeons nowadays, in olden days, they have to put pressure on the right tissue to remove the bad tissue and carefully avoiding good tissue. Now there are instruments, devices where it has a camera, it has a sensor, those are all IoMT, Internet of Medical Things, and IoT devices where it will navigate. You don't have to put pressure. Your hand is trembling. You don't have to do that. It will navigate. It knows exactly because it's all software embedded. It knows what is the bad tissue, what's a good tissue, how to navigate. Literally, that is the way it is going. So now, all along, people talked about medical tourism. You will see that doctors in India who are as competent as anybody else in the world, or even they're more competent in many respects, and they will perform surgery for patients in the US. I recently wrote an article on the future of surgery, where all these things are going to play a part, and also the operating room itself is going to drastically change in the near future. So there are many changes coming into this. If you're talking about AI, I want to touch upon AI. You can see that AI is going to be a big GPT-3 is. So what is GPT-3? GPT-3 is a kind of open source algorithm. Previously, you could do some search engine. No, this will take all the information out there, parse it, it will give you decision, literally the answers to that.
So, you have had a career span of almost 3 decades and have worked in several dimensions of health and life sciences. So, what are some of your key learnings that each area has taught you, and what would be your advice to fellow IFTNs?
Key learnings is, practically speaking, you cannot so you have to reinvent yourself all the time. It is no longer just life sciences knowledge. You need to know little bit of technology, not little bit more, data analytics. See, if you look at the data analytics, there are all kinds of correlations there. Okay, so how do you figure out the causation? That's very difficult. There are all kinds of correlation. You can, if you torture the data enough, you will get whatever answer you want to get. Okay, so the trick is it's both an art and science, and one has to reinvent oneself, not just having one area, multidisciplinary approach.
You have the experience in teaching global strategy courses at top B schools abroad. How important is international exposure and having a knowledge of international markets in making business decisions, especially with respect to what strategies can be implemented?
This is a very, yes, I know globalization has slowed down as compared to what it used to be. That doesn't mean it's completely faded away. The more technology, virtual, we are doing everything Zoom and virtual. This is going to be the order of the day, and you will see that um, this international business will be an important factor. From a healthcare life sciences point of view, if you look at it, healthcare system is quite different in each country. If you think what you do here, you can just like that port it to say India, it doesn't work. There are so many different forces. Uh, some countries single payer system. Okay, here completely opposed in the US. It's market forces. At least they believe market forces, and in India, it's a kind of mixed, maybe, government providing services plus the private sector and things like that. So the healthcare system, from that point of view, there are so many nuances involved. One has to understand the system, healthcare system. So international business is so crucial. You cannot, if you are launching a, say, drug, the the factors you look to launch and make it successful in the US is quite different. The factors you would be looking to launch and make it successful in India, it's completely different. I would like to do some virtual sessions with IFT because I've done several courses. I stopped teaching. I taught this course for 12 years at Temple University Fox School. But if you ask me, my passion is teaching. I loved it. I like it. If only I can afford, maybe in terms of money should not be the criteria. I'm really thinking maybe few years I'll retire, and I plan to spend some time in India, 4 or 5 months, and then spend some time here. So I would like to do teaching, but if that can culminate now, I'm more than happy. So I'm just seeding this idea in your head.
Owing to COVID, each one of us got a lot of time to spend at home and reflect on ourselves. So, was there anything that you worked on, like developing any new skills or experience something that you would have generally missed out on?
Yeah, I did something unusual. So I never did a lot of gardening or any of those things. I was always traveling and doing my own thing, thought leadership, and I was thinking, my God, I'm cooped up in the house and we can't. So I took up really seriously gardening. Planting trees. Okay. Then I started reading about different trees, ornamental trees, shade trees, fast growing trees, and different kinds of plants. And so my house, I started doing all those things. I mean, it's a learning process. There were a lot of trial and error. Of course, my wife was, oh, you put it here, you put it. I don't know if I've done it right. And so every time I go and tell my wife, is it okay? Is it okay? Can I plant here? Can I plant there? And you're spoiling them. So that is one thing I did. Really, I took completely, I've never done much of yard work and all in my life. So that's new. Oh, it's very therapeutic. I can tell you, guys, therapeutic. Okay, it's very therapeutic, and I plan to continue. So obviously, second one is catch up with a lot of readings, which I've never done. I always procrastinate. Oh, let's do it, and then I read some article and then I'll say, come back to it halfway through. Something will linger in my head. Oh, this deadline, that deadline. So I did that. Third, uh, again, unabashedly, I'm going to give a plug for myself. Go to my LinkedIn profile. So IBM has they have this awarding badges. Okay. So you are allowed to, you are supposed to take 40 hours of some training program. Okay. Normally they'll give this compliance training. That's so boring, and I kind of take a shortcut. I never take the training, go to the answer straight, and try a couple of times, and same questions are repeated. You get it and done with it. So this time what I did was, they have a badge for real rigorous areas. Okay. It's a great achievement if you do that. So this is what I did. If you go to my LinkedIn profile, you will see, or if you go to certification section of my LinkedIn profile, there are 15 or 20 certification, all done 2020. I've been procrastinating. I said, I never, so I said, okay, let me get this. So I did that. So you can always find ways to enrich yourself in terms of knowledge. And so something other than cerebral activity, I would say yard work, gardening. I undertook that. And of all the things I did, I think this is more therapeutic than all the cerebral activities.